So, Justice League, that movie, oh my gosh, dude. Alright, so first of all, I'm gonna say right now, DC is better than Marvel. I believe DC is better than Marvel, and I'm gonna explain why. Well, for starters, Marvel movies, I'm not the first person to say this, and I damn sure I'm not gonna be the last person to say this. Marvel movies are mainly meant to entertain people. And, like, they're meant to entertain, and they're just kind of like, well, Marvel's good, don't get me wrong, Marvel's good, but they're not as good as DC, okay? Because, I'll get into it. So, Marvel movies are really meant to entertain, and, like, they have stories and stuff, you know, and they have characters, but, like, have you ever noticed that, like, with the characters kind of went on for a while, and they didn't really, and they were kind of doing their thing, you know? It was mostly just shoot 'em up, punch, action, you know, but you didn't really, like, if you ever saw, like, Avengers, alright? If you ever saw Avengers, and you saw Age of Ultron and all that stuff, did you really, like, did it really feel that suspenseful? I mean, first of all, you knew they were gonna win. And second, it's like, you didn't really, it didn't really make you worry. Like, you didn't feel that much, you know? It was just more entertainment, like I say. You know, it was like a boxing match. That's basically what it is. It's like a boxing match with, you know, two boxers. You know one of them's going to beat the other. As a matter of fact, the with Marvel, it's like, you know, Marvel characters are going to win no matter what, the Marvel heroes. But I'm going to get into DC. They make their stuff with heart, all right? Like, they really put emotion and philosophy into it and stuff. Like, when you have Superman, all right? Man of Steel. I love that movie so much, and a lot of people don't like it, but they don't really get it, all right? It's like, if you think about it, he's Superman, right? He has all these powers. He's super strong, super smart. He's fast. He has everything. But the whole movie is him struggling with the fact that he's Superman, you know? So, I mean, most of the movie, yeah, Superman is a burden to him, and it's like, if you really think about it, he's an all-powerful being. Well, not all-powerful, he's not God, but he's a super powerful being, and it's like, he's the last person you would expect to struggle with it, but he is, you know, and and he's sensitive too, you know, he's emotional. And they'll say, oh, well, he's just kind of depressing and moody. And it's like, but you see the emotions, you know. Obviously, they could have done a better job, you know. They could have done this and that, you know, whatever, I don't care. But, like, you know, there was that one guy, that little guy, that, like, that little dickhead who, you know, was all, hey, asshole, don't forget your tip. And you see the expression on his face, he's upset. Like, he's, you know, he's a billion times stronger than that guy, and he's still upset about how the guy was bullying him, you know. And, you know, Superman does face all kinds of challenges in that movie, and I loved it. And now we're gonna get into Marvel, you know. I mean, the the Spider-Man trilogy, awesome, okay? Hands down, absolute the Spider-Man trilogy, perfect. So I'm not gonna get into that. That was brilliant. But and we even got Bully Maguire out of it. But like, when you look at like the MCU, all right, so they make the characters' personalities. They make them more so to entertain, to be honest. Like, um, I'll take Iron Man for example, because he's kind of the most, you know. They'll say, oh, well, Iron Man has problems too. He's kind of antisocial, and it's like, he won't make eye contact with somebody. Like, okay. Yeah, he had daddy issues. He won't make eye contact with people, you know. And, like, when you put it that way, if you think about it, that's not really that deep, you know. Like, they don't really emphasize his struggle. It's just kind of a little thing extra. It's not. It's like putting sprinkles on a cupcake. Okay, like yeah, here's Iron Man. Oh, but he has daddy issues a little bit, and he's kind of antisocial and awkward. They don't really make it part of the story, and it's not really an important part. But with Superman, Man of Steel, the fact that Man of Steel, the fact that Superman, he was struggling most of the movie. He couldn't, he wasn't comfortable in his skin. So even when he's trying to use these powers that he has, General Zod is still beating his ass for most of the movie. So it's still, so his inadequacy and his also the Kryptonians were ruthless. They beat the hell out of the humans, and Superman was trying to save them. So his emotions, and he was just like one of a kind. And it was holding him back. He struggled to be a human. He struggled to be a Kryptonian, and he's torn between it. What's Iron Man problems? Oh, and by the way, we'll get into that in a minute about Iron Man talking with his dad in Endgame. We'll get into that in a minute. But Iron Man problems are like this. He's like someone talks to him. Yeah. He kind of acts like a dick. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's good. They're all good. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm talking about good and then better. DC is better. I don't give a fuck. Iron Man, Marvel is hyped up, overrated. Okay. Here's what it is with Iron Man. He's like this. He's like, they try to make him interesting, and they'll have him slap on his his suit, and he'll be like this, dancing, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle, jingle bell. And it's like, I guess that's supposed to make him goofy and shit, but they spend too much time, like they want to make the characters fun, but their method is to just make them weirdos. like you see, yeah, basically like that. I mean, Captain America was more down to earth. I like Captain America. But he was kind of like, I don't want to say he was kind of a dud. Well, he wasn't a dud, but I just didn't really feel with it. I mean, I did with Captain America. I got it, he's this wimpy guy. He's good. I'll give him that for sure. But, he's this wimpy, scrawny guy growing up in the 1940s, getting bullied, all this stuff. And then at some point, they see his courage, and he's courageous and brave. So they say, yeah, he's great for the experiment, because he had all the characteristic qualities of a superhero, just not so much the he had all the characteristic qualities of a superhero, just not so much the physical quality. He doesn't have super strength. He's not big. He's not fast, athletic, whatever. So they do all that, and bam, he's a superhero. And so he's good. And I love at the end of Endgame how they ended with him getting with Peggy. I've always wanted to see that ever since I saw Captain America. And so, but we'll get into Endgame. Basically, it's like, I'm not the first person to say this, but a lot of people have said it too. They had all these characters, the Avengers, and they're working on them, They're kind of trying to, because they all have these goals for themselves, And then Endgame, they spend all these past movies, they spend the past 10 years kind of working just a little bit on the characters, but more so just smashing and fighting and stuff. And then at the end, and then when they finally get to Endgame, they jump 5 years, and all of a sudden everybody's worked out their demons, like Hulk. He's like, yeah, best of both worlds. I'm the Hulk, and I'm Bruce Banner at the same time. And it's like, cool, but we barely even touched on that throughout those movies. We didn't even we barely touched on him at all. Like, I wasn't even really aware that you were gonna try to do that. I don't know how many people were aware until that actually happened, you know? But, so, yeah, and another thing, The Dark Knight, even though The Dark Knight isn't in the DCU universe, it's awesome, okay? Unless they have a multiverse. And, I don't even need to say The Dark Knight is awesome. We know it is, but there's this philosopher, John Locke, who said humans are like savage animals, and it's only once we can be comfortable and satisfied, once our needs are met, then we can become civilized. Once we find a way, or once we can just get an order for ourselves. And Batman is kind of like, he believes, that everybody is good, and it's only something that's making them bad. But the Joker's different. The Joker thinks everybody's a savage animal, like what John Locke said, but the only thing keeping them good is the civilization and the order. You take away the order, you create chaos, and everybody's a savage animal again. So Joker was doing everything he could to, make that happen. And it makes you think, and it makes you feel like how many people can even like really, I mean, okay, I won't say that. I was gonna say how many people can relate to Iron Man, but then I realized some people probably could, but it's like, then all of a sudden, like, you feel their emotions. They emphasize on the I don't want to say like philosophical, because that's a big word, but they do. They emphasize on like the philosophical aspect of it, of you know, uh chaos and order, Batman and the Joker, chaos and order. But now into the DCU with Snyder Cut, it's like you see, they had that first movie, and people were just like, oh, haha, Endgame is way better than Justice League. Justice League is a mess, but it obviously was. Henry Cavill's mouth was like he would talk, and it would be all, oh, dude, you won't let me live, you won't let me die. Tell me, do you bleed? And so they fixed that. They don't even have that scene in the movie, but then you have they need to make a Batman solo movie, but then you have the Flash, and he has like he's like Iron Man. He has, a problem with his dad, but they emphasize on it. That's kind of what that's kind of what motivates him. Iron Man isn't the only thing that motivated Iron Man is in the beginning of the 2008 movie. Iron Man, he was building weapons, all that stuff. We've all seen it. He was building weapons. Then the weapons were used against him, and he said, "I think I shouldn't build weapons. I think I should do something else." And then he built the Iron Man suit, and that was his motivation. But then all of a sudden, his motivation ended because he wasn't really, he didn't like he kind of felt like when he says I am Iron Man, he technically kind of thinks that the superhero thing is cool, and he's kind of interested, but it wasn't until Nick Fury recruited him. And then we'll have, Batman's different than Iron Man. Batman wasn't really recruited. Batman was the guy recruiting. We all know Batman, he lost his parents, and so he realized he needs to instill, like, put order into society. And although Batman does not keep everybody like they don't really I don't know if Batman has his rule about don't kill anybody. I don't know if he has that rule in the DCEU, but it doesn't really matter. It's not really part of what's going on. You see Superman, you know, I like how they changed Superman to be oh, forget that. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, then there's the Flash. Sorry. I forgot. The Flash, he's running, he has his powers and all, and but he is, even though his powers aren't really a burden to him, his powers aren't a burden to him at all. He likes his powers, and he's trying to help out his dad. And you see his dad is in prison, and so Flash, you see he has a relationship with his dad already, and it's, he likes it. He cares about it. He cares about his dad. And then we see Iron Man. What does Iron Man do in Endgame? Oh my god, dude. I remember I saw when they were talking about Endgame, they said, oh my god, Endgame is such a wonderful movie. Oh, it's so amazing. Dear God. It made me laugh. And it made me cry. And oh my god, dude. This is such a good movie. 3 hours. Snyder cut with 4 hours, bitch. So, then we have, there's the scene, he goes back in time. That was kind of good. It's like, how would you react if you went back in time? But they didn't really do a whole lot with that. It wasn't like in how the DC, they put way more emphasis on the whole philosophy and how people respond to certain things and stuff, how people behave. Because, with the time travel in Endgame, it was just kind of like, he meets his dad, and he's like, yeah, what's it like being a parent? Huh, oh, awkward hug. Thank you, Dad, whatever. And then Captain America sees Peggy, and he's like opens the blinds. I love you. Damn, you hot as hell. Damn, shawty. Whatever. And then he gets with her at the end, so happy ending. But yeah, the thing about Endgame though, Infinity War was awesome. I love Thanos, but Thanos, the thing about it is, Snyder, DC is not afraid to kind of get creative with it. And when I say creative, I mean they're not afraid to make something that makes you think. They want you to think a little bit. They want you to emphasize, and it's more emotional and more thought-provoking, because Marvel is meant to be recycled for every other country, so they make the story as simple as possible, And so Thanos was talking about, this is when they tried to make him the most complicated character. Thanos was all, I came from a planet, and in this planet, everybody starved to death, so I'm going to wipe away half the population of the universe. And then we won't starve to death, because we will have extra resources now. He could have just doubled the resources, but whatever. So, but I mean, I know that they try to act like it was some kind of, he's like, oh wow, this guy has motivation. He thinks he's the good guy. And, Thanos did have some good motivation. He even killed his daughter over it. But then when you see Darkseid was way more interesting. Darkseid was like, this world is, the universe is the universe is divided. We must all come together to worship the same God. And in order to do that, we must use these boxes, which engage with the planets, and they merge and fuse. And then we can have them all worship under the same God, and we will finally no longer be divided. We will all be united under the same God. And it's funny because if you think about it in real life, that applies, because I'm not going to get into politics or anything, but they worship the devil, as we know that. Well, you should know that. They do worship the devil. What do you think they're doing child sacrifices for? Seriously, they do that. Look it up. There's one in the street or something. I'll get it. Sorry. Anyway, and then the whole thing with Thanos, they put the truth in the movies. And I did see, I don't know who this guy was. I don't know who. I don't know what power, what authority is what he was. I forget his name. I forget it. But I remember I was watching a video recently. This guy was talking about, yeah, we need to get rid of half the population. You know, like Thanos. And Darkseid is also like real life, because all these villains are based off of real people, you know. Mr. Burns is based off Jacob Rothschild. And so we have Darkseid, who is like George Soros, I think, and he's like, you know, we must all be united under the same God. That's actually what they want in real life. You know, they want us to all worship the devil, I think. You know, but they do. They put devil symbolism and stuff. I mean, Darkseid, I mean no, Steppenwolf had devil horns, okay? He had devil horns and his face kind of looked like a goat just a little bit. But that's beside the point. DC is better than Marvel because they make their movies way more engaging with their audience, and it's more complex. So even their audience, the reason that they get the reason people run their mouth and talk shit about DC is because they don't really get it. They're not thinking it, and they don't always see it. And if you're a DC fan like me, you see it, you get it, because you're a fan of it, you know. And then there's I was kind of annoyed that Wonder Woman's theme song played too much. You know, the you know, whatever. I'm thinking, oh god, dude. At least Superman's theme is cool. Oh, and then there's General Zod. General Zod and Man of Steel was great, and we're gonna get into Batman versus Superman soon. General Zod versus Man of Steel. It's like, if you think about it, General Zod was talking about, you know, his whole purpose is to, I mean, Marvel's talking about, we finally created a character. Well, actually, they do this with all their villains, but, you know, we created a character who believes he's the good guy. Oh my god, but he's actually the bad guy. He's corrupted, you know. And some of the coolest characters, like the Joker, they were just bad for the sake of being bad. You know, the Joker was just like, I just do things. I'm like a dog chasing cars. And then he's like, it's not about money. It's about sending a message. Everything burns, you know, whatever. But, yeah, we'll get into, yeah, Marvel, DC, shit. So, you know, everything burns. Darkseid, yeah. No, General Zod, that's what I was talking about. General Zod was talking about, yeah, we need to, no. His whole purpose was, you know, to protect Krypton. So when Krypton's destroyed, the first thing he does is he's like, I must rebuild Krypton. And it's like, why wouldn't he rebuild Krypton? I mean, think about it. Why wouldn't he? I mean, he really could have coexisted, the Kryptonians and the Earthlings. I mean, if Kryptonians came down to Earth, I would probably oppose, well, I would probably not, I don't know, should we oppose breeding with aliens? I don't know about that, but we'll get into that. That's a Batman versus Superman thing. So, Kryptonians, you know, I mean, General Zod wanted to rebuild Krypton on Earth, and to do that, he didn't hate humans, it's just the humans were in the way of what he was doing. So, then what he did is, he couldn't do it, but it's like, if you think about it, that's his instinct, that's his entire purpose. And these days, it's kind of sad, because I kind of wish there was a General Zod. Not General Zod like he's gonna turn Earth into Krypton, I don't want that. But General Zod who would, you know, restore order back to Earth. Because a lot of things, people these days, they're really soft and selfish and self-centered, you know. And what I mean by that is they don't really, they're too much into YOLO, you know, like, oh, you only live once. I just live. Don't worry about anything. If you worry about something, that's just stupid, you know, it's pointless. And it's like, no, like, we need a, like, because all you're doing is just, you're numbing yourself with all these short-lived little pleasures, but you need a sense of purpose. And General Zod had a huge sense of purpose, and it's kind of sad that a lot of people aren't like that. So they put the truth in the movies and the fake in real life, you know. And so I kind of wish there were people like General Zod, you know, who believe they have a sense of purpose, and we need to like restore a good sense of order, you know, a life, or no, a planet worth living on, like Krypton, you know. And if Kryptonians were stronger than people, I mean, I believe we should, you know, strive for, we should strive to be the best we can be. And the Kryptonians, I mean, no, and DC does that with their movies. They are quality. And I know what someone's gonna say. Oh, what about Suicide Squad? Okay, first of all, Suicide Squad was ass. Suicide Squad was a complete failure. It sucked dick. No offense if you suck dick, okay? But dude, Suicide Squad, I'm not gonna get into that. But I still stand by what I'm saying about DC being better than Marvel. Because at the end of the day, Marvel focuses more on entertainment, whereas DC focuses more on on thought provoking and emotion and engaging. And now I know someone's gonna say, but I cried during this Marvel movie, and I didn't cry during a DC movie. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's because your brain is stupid. You probably cry about everything, you you special little snowflake. So now we're gonna get into Batman versus Superman. That movie, I will say, it was kind of it was like imagine a bunch of little mini clips, and then at the end they kind of all no, it's like imagine a cooking video where they show a bunch of different layers of different cake, and then at the very end they stack them all together. You know, that's kind of what it was, because Batman versus Superman, it was kind of just different clips of stuff over and over that were sort of related to each other, but there wasn't like a single continuum. Like, it didn't continue with one particular thing. It was kind of just a bunch of different little subplots. But my favorite part of that movie, my favorite part of Batman versus Superman was pretty great. It was my favorite part of Batman versus Superman was great. It was the scene where they're talking about how would we react to a Superman, you know? And they're like, it's the news scene, and they're saying, and they have Neil deGrasse Tyson, which makes it seem more like even more realistic. And if you think about it, it's really good. Because, I mean, I just watch it. You know, you could just watch it and it's really good. They're talking about, like, must there be a Superman? How does should we have an individual engaging in these state level interventions? All that stuff. And, you know, you see, you know, Batman doesn't like Superman, obviously. He's trying to get rid of Superman because Batman likes order, and he sees Superman as something that can't be controlled. But in the end, he likes Superman. So one thing though is they say we're talking about a being whose very existence challenges our own sense of priority in the universe, and aliens are real anyway. So I mean, we're not the only ones, but yeah, they put the truth in the movies and the fake in real life. But you see, Tyson's saying stuff like, we used to think that, you know, that the sun revolved around the Earth, and then all of a sudden we realize the sun's here and the Earth revolves around it, and all of a sudden it changes our sense. All of a sudden it's like, whoa, we're not the center. Even though I don't know, the sun could revolve around Earth. It could be a lie. I'm pretty sure Earth might revolve around the sun. It probably does, but it could be a lie. Have you ever seen it do it? Have you ever seen it happen? But then they talk. This is my favorite part of that. This is my favorite part of my favorite part. It's um, it's shit. No, I didn't forget. It's when they say we've always in religions and stuff, we've always looked for saviors and messianic figures, and then when we actually have someone who fits that sort of description, then all of a sudden it's like we want to apply what we know of our religious beliefs onto him. And they talked about that, and they're saying he's like, and they talk about what if he's some kind, people believe Superman to be some kind of Jesus figure, and they even have him, like they even have a little bit of Jesus symbolism with Superman. And they emphasize, I do think that was a little corny, but they do emphasize on that was, they, I mean, it's not emphasized, but it's kind of implied. It's kind of vaguely implied there, and it's the whole thing about how this whole thing about he's a savior, So then all of a sudden they're thinking, like, is it moral to even have this kind of thoughts about a person? Should we have? God damn, my tooth was crooked this whole time. Is it moral to have these kind of thoughts about a person, or at least having these demands for a person? Is it too much of a stress for them to have them fit and abide by what we've thought of when it comes to biblical beings and stuff and biblical characters? And then there was that one part who said, what if he's not a devil or Jesus character? What if he's just a guy trying to do the right thing? And they have that, and they're thinking about it. They really, what you can tell with this scene is they really put a lot of thought into, and they had to mention it, like, what does this mean for Earth? What does this mean for humanity? That there's this guy, this superpowered guy who's here. But it's kind of funny because with the Justice League, there's already superpowered guys. And I guess it's just a matter of there's, he's the most powerful one, so they're really concerned about him. I mean, yeah. And then I love the music, by the way. Hans Zimmer, I don't know if Hans Zimmer was in Snyder Cut, but he did have great music with it. Superman's theme is great. Hans Zimmer always makes great music. So yeah, Marvel, you're out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that 3 hour long. Oh yeah, and I can't believe I almost forgot this. This is one of the most important parts. The final fight, when they're fighting Steppenwolf, it's like there's the three boxes merging, right? And it's like it's suspenseful because it's like you're worried that the three boxes can merge, And then Steppenwolf is fighting and he's trying to make sure the boxes merge, but Cyborg is trying to pull these boxes apart, and they're just fighting over and over like that. And it's like they're all teaming up on him, and they're actually beating Steppenwolf. Whereas, and it's comparable to the fight at the end of Endgame with Thanos beating them all up. But then instead of, and then here's the thing though, they're fighting Thanos, but then Thanos says, in all my years, I've never taken joy in taking a life. But what I'm about to do to your annoying little planet, I'm going to enjoy it very much. And then he unleashes his army, and then Captain America's like, oh shit, and then all of a sudden these little spiral things come out behind him, and it's like a portal, and then Chadwick Boseman walks out, and all the I'm, I'm laughing because I don't know if I said his name right. That's why I'm laughing. And so all these guys walk out, and then you see Iron Spider Boy Jr. and they're all like, Avengers assemble, and then the scene is just dark, and also they cropped it really weird. They cropped it like this, and so was Justice League. It was cropped weird, but then Snyder Cut cropped it good, like this video here. And so it's like, Avengers assemble. And then it's like, ah! And they're all running, and all you see is this. All the fuck you see is. And then Ant-Man. And then Iron Man and his wife. And then Spider-Boy Jr. Where's my gauntlet? Here we go. And then Captain Marvel. And then Thanos versus Captain Marvel. Power Stone. And then she goes up to like Iron Boy Jr. with the gauntlet. Hey, you got something for me? And I'm thinking, why are you like indestructible? Oh, God. And then there's like that feminist scene, like all the women. Girl power, Girl power is kind of cool, I will admit. But not that scene. Not much of Marvel. Marvel's kind of goofy. Yeah, Marvel is goofy as hell. Marvel's goofy as hell. I'll tell you why people talk shit about DC. DC's more sophisticated. Marvel's goofy as shit. And so yeah, they're just fighting, and it's just like, it's not that suspenseful. A lot of people were talking about that. They're just fighting like, ooh, and then but there's actually suspense here. Oh, and then they fail, and then Flash gets shot, and he trips and falls, and then it's like too late. But if you don't know, if you move faster than the speed of light, you go back in time. I think the physics behind that are basically that space moves. Flash can probably move space, and that's why he can move so fast, because really he's not running insanely fast. He's moving the space, and the space is moving. So it's like walking on one of those conveyor belts at the airport. So it's like the space-time is moving. So that's how he moved faster than the speed of light. And then and I'm glad I knew that fact, because then he goes back in time, and he just gets there, and he goes, powers his friend up, and he's like, Superman, yo, pull the boxes apart now, bro. And then they don't have that dumb, goofy-ass scene. Oh, I want to die. I can't feel my legs. How do I feel my toes? And they're all laughing, and then his funny CGI mouth. Ha 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 ha. But then they change it to, we did it. And then, and I love Darkseid's voice. He's all, I don't even know if I can do his voice. He's all like, I'd look like the other guy, I think. I knew Steppenwolf would fail. I tried to warn you. And then Darkseid, he's all, yes. I guess you're right. But I will stop at nothing until I get, how he is. And all around, beautiful movie. DC, you kick Marvel's ass. You busted a load in them, and thank you very much for what you've done. You did a great job. Marvel, you done. Marvel is done. It's DC's time to shine, and I look forward to it. Thank you so much for watching. Leave like, comment, subscribe. If you're not already, tap that notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to do shit.